Development charges are rising faster than inflation. Since 2010, the inflation has risen by 41%, whereas development charges are jumped over 900% in Toronto. While these fees are meant to help cities grow, but this is one of the factors why the house prices are rising in the area. But what are the development charges and why they are rising so fast? Stick around because today we will deep dive into that with graphs and real data. So let's explore together. Hello everyone, my name is Parth Soni. I'm a realtor based in Waterloo region, catering Waterloo and Toronto, helping families and investors like you to buy and sell. If you find any value out of this video, the only thing I ask to like and subscribe to my channel. So today we will be covering 4 things. The very first one in that is what are the development charges? Second, why are development charges rising? Third, the impact on housing prices because of the rise in development charge. And the fourth one, are this absolutely necessary? So let's jump on the very first one. What are the development charges? So development charges are fees basically that developer pays to municipalities to help cover the cost of infrastructure like road, water system, parks and schools. And they are meant to ensure that the new development does not put any strain on the existing public. It sounds fair, right? But here's the catch. In the recent years, the development charges have exploded through the roof. Now let's take an example of Toronto in 2010 and 2024, that's current. So this is the development charges in City of Toronto. This is something you can readily available from the public website. So if you see over here, in January of 2010, the development charge for a single family, which is highlighted in yellow over here, single and semi-detached were $12,366. And the development charges for a 1-bedroom apartment were just less than $5,000, that is $4,985. Now let's compare the same data for today's market, that is 2024. So if we see over here for singles and semis, the development charges for a single unit is just little less than $138,000, and for a 1-bedroom apartment it's over $52,000. Now if we compare 2010 to 2024, for a single detached, $12,366 versus $137,000, there is an increase over 1,000%. And if we compare for a 1-bedroom, which is a pretty standard typical condo in Toronto, the increase is over 956%. And this is something really shocking, like from 2010 to 2024, the CPI inflation has rose by 51%, whereas the development charges has grown over 900%. And by the way, if you're looking to get into more details of all the numbers that are provided over here, you are more than welcome to go down to the city website and check out by yourself. Now let's focus on the second thing, why are development charges rising? So there are 3 main factors which is causing surge in the development charges. So over here you can see the very first one is the urban growth pressure, the second one is the provincial policies, and the third one is the inflation and construction cost. And we will go deep down in detail in all 3 factors in today's video. So let's look at the very first, that is urban growth pressure. So Canadian cities are growing rapidly, and with the rapid population, there is a demand will be in infrastructure, public services, and more things will be needed to serve those people. But instead of funding this project from the general taxes, more municipalities are relying on the development charges. And just to give you a little bit context, here is the graph of Canada population in last 20 years. So Canada population has seen a significant increase in last 20 years, growing from approximately 30 million in early 2000s to over 40 million in 2023. Now this is a huge increase in a very short time. So that's over a 25% in 2 decades. And this leads to a very famous saying in all the municipalities is like growth pays for growth to justify the development charge. Now let's take a quick look how the development charges are dispersed or used. So if you see on this table over here, like out of 100%, so this is all the list of items where the development charges is used, and it also shows the percentage of where it's used. So based on the data provided from the city, like 38.5% of the development charges goes towards the transit. And 21.2% again goes towards the road and related services. So basically our transit and transportation is the major chunk where most of the money in the development going. The second one over here is like Spadina subway expansion, that is like 3.2% of development charges goes towards this, and the park and recreation at 14.7%. Other goes towards like water, sanitary sewers, and stormwater management services. The rest of the development charges are divided into library, police, fire, ambulance services, long-term care, child care, and waste division. Now let's talk about the second thing, that is provincial policies. Now in Ontario, all the municipalities have autonomy to decide the development charge of their own municipalities, and many are also using them to offset their budget deficit. Now let's look at the quick development charge increase data over here from 2004 to 2024. If you see on the very right side, you will get to know about the percent increase in the development charge from 2004 to 2024. Number one on the list is Chatham. Second is Toronto, then Mississauga, Vaughan, London, and goes on. Whereas Kitchener comes at 338% increase in development charge over a period of last 20 years. And just to give you an idea, Burlington is at the lowest. But this is something that can be controlled to propel more growth. Like recent example, like City of Vaughan, Mayor Del Duca did the same thing in the City of Vaughan. Like they have drastically reduced their development charges. So to sum it up, if municipalities want, it is under their control. They can reduce the development charge if they want to. Now the third factor we have is the inflation and the construction cost. So higher cost of material and higher labor charges means more money going towards the same projects. Most of the mega projects are anywhere between 5 to 10 years long, and most often they are adjusted for the inflation. But what we have seen in the past is like whatever the time frame, they are not getting completed in the time frame, and that leads to 3, 4, 5 year extension in that project, which is not accounted for. And when the inflation goes high, that money is going towards that project, which is not accounted. So overall, the project cost way more than the expected cost. In addition, there are some factors in the construction that cannot be controlled, like the supply chain issue we have all noticed in the COVID time where everything stopped. So that is something leading to more time is equal to more money. Now let's talk about impact on housing prices. Now here's the kicker. All these charges are directly passed to you, that is the buyer. In Toronto, development charges are account for up to 10% of the house. And if you do the math, that is tens and thousands of dollars added to your mortgage. Now just to give you a quick example, a one-bedroom pre-construction condo in Toronto will cost you roughly anywhere between $600,000 to $650,000. And the development charge alone on that one-bedroom unit is $52,676. That is over 8%, and that is only going towards the development charges, not considering any other government fees which you will pay, like land transfer tax and taxes and levy. And there is another real life example which leads to more development charge. Now take the Eglinton Cross Station LRT project. As the city develops new transit infrastructure to accommodate growing population, it's expected to create more connected and desirable cities. However, all this improvement comes at a cost. Based on my knowledge and research, it was supposed to be completed in 2020, but it's end of 2024 and it's still not yet complete. So it's already delayed for more than 4 years, and all that cost deficit will be reflected in the budget. And to recoup that, government may increase the development charge. And this increased fees ultimately contribute to the higher condo prices. Now here's a quick tip. When you're going to buy a pre-construction project, make sure you have a development charge clause added to your contract. This is something we do for all of our pre-construction buyers so that at the end of the day, there are not any surprises. And if you are not sure what to put down in the contract, email me and I'll happy to help. Now let's come to the point number 4. Are these charges absolutely necessary? This is the question I got asked most of the time when we are working with a pre-construction. Now to be fair, development charges are not that all bad. They fund essential projects like school, clean water, wastewater management, public transit, and all that things come with the development. And this benefits everyone. The question is, are municipalities relying too much on it? And here are the quick few things that municipality can do to stop relying too much on the development charges. The very first one would be using a general tax revenue to fund the development. The second one is the leveraging public-private partnership. The third they can do is applying fees to a selective project so not every development burden the same way. Now just to give you a quick example, there is a boutique condo coming up on a Devonport. You must have know about it if you are in Toronto. The pricing starts at $5 million. And if you compare that with another condo in downtown Toronto, now it's not justified. Like if someone is purchasing 700,000 condos paying the same development fees versus someone is buying a $5 million. And here's another thing. Based on Dr. Mike Moffat, we have $10.6 billion in unspent development charges in reserve fund as of December of 2022 in all the Ontario's municipalities. Now just to give you an idea, Dr. Mike is a Canadian economist, so I will go by their word, like what they are saying over here. I don't have any official data. It's the tweet from them, so I'll be using that. And to be honest, I don't know much about how the reserve fund works. That is a very deep economics subject down there, and what amount of reserve fund is needed in the ministry. So for this purpose, I'll be not providing any of my opinion. But again, even if I have to, what I will do is like check out what is the absolutely appropriate amount of reserve fund should be there. If it's $5 billion, use that another $5.5 billion to fund municipalities to 5 or 10 year period so that development charges don't go high, or even we can see a reduce in the development. And if I want to be a devil's advocate, here's something which we can look more into details. Like, the market determines the price of the condo, not the development. Now, during the peak, every developer was selling at a higher price, and we have seen a clear price difference between phase one and phase two of the same project. And I'm talking about all the new launch happening between 2020 and 2022. Now, if you have any idea about pre-construction, like phase one and phase two will be having the same exact development charges, but still the prices vary. So that's what I mean by that. The market determines the price of a new condo. And again, there is no guarantee if the development charges is reduced, it will be directly passed on to the buyer by the developers. And according to Bill 23, it does not make mandatory for a developer to pass that lower charges to the buyers. Now, to sum up the whole thing, development charges is considered as a double-edged sword. They are crucial to build the cities we love, but if left unchecked, that could also lead to increase in house prices. What do you think? Is there a better way to fund our growth in Canada? Let me know in the comments below. And if you find any value out of this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you next time with a more deep dive into Canadian real estate. Thank you so much.